intensifying the ongoing conflict. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky accused Russia of attacking energy facilities, despite the Russian President Vladimir Putin's recent pledge to refrain from targeting such infrastructure for 30 days. In retaliation, Ukraine is accused of striking a Russian oil storage facility in Krasnodar. Meanwhile, Russian drone strikes hit 2 hospitals in Ukraine's northern Sumy region. During a press conference with Finnish President Alexander Stubb, President Zelensky reaffirmed Ukraine's undeniable right to defend itself against Russian aggression. Later today, President Zelensky is expected to speak with U.S. President Donald Trump to discuss details of his recent call with President Putin. The two leaders have a tense relationship, which reached a boiling point during a White House meeting 2 weeks ago. Journalist Francis Hughes joins me now via Zoom from Belfast in Northern Ireland. Good to have you join us on World Now. Well, as it is now, President Putin has been accused of attacking Ukraine's energy facilities despite the Russian president's pledge to refrain for 30 days. Is that Vladimir Putin reneging on the ceasefire deal?
Well, I think what we're witnessing is the beginning of the end of the war. I think what we're witnessing is Trump's promise when he came into power in January that one of his first decisions would be to try and end the violence and end the sacrifices of up to 1 million Ukrainian soldiers who died on the battlefield. And I think it's very important to remember and always put things in context. I mean, Zelensky was elected on a promise of bringing peace to the breakaway secessionist oblasts of Lugansk and Donetsk when he was first elected. He then reneged on that, so he was elected on the promise of bringing peace and tranquility back to the Ukraine. Instead, what he did at the behest of both the Americans and Boris Johnson was to break his ceasefire agreements with Russia, to break the Minsk I and Minsk II agreements, which would have led to some form of autonomy for these 2 breakaway regions. And what he did was, with the help of the EU and America, he rearmed the Ukrainian armed forces. He then put them on the border of the breakaway republics. Those republics only broke away because in 2014 there was a coup initiated by the Americans and the British to bring about the downfall of the democratically elected President Lukashenko. So it's the West that brought destabilization to Ukraine. It was using fascists like the Azov Battalion in order to attack the Russian-speaking, Russian Orthodox following people in the Donbass. I've been to the Donbass. People told me they didn't leave Ukraine. Ukraine left them whenever this fascist coup was put into power by the West. So Trump is trying to redress the war started by Vice President Biden in 2014, continued by President Biden in 2020, to include massive troops on the border of the Donbass region in December and January of 2021, 2022, before the special military operation began.
All right, but President Zelensky has consistently reaffirmed Ukraine's undeniable right, that's where he puts it now, undeniable right to defend itself against Russian aggression. How can this be done? How successfully can this be done, considering the matter on ground and the intervention of the international community?
Well, there was a coup put in place, as I've said, in 2014. The result of that is a division of Ukraine caused by the West. Zelensky claims that he is fighting Russian aggression. A special military operation, in my opinion, went into Donbass in February of 2022 to prevent a potential massacre of the Russian-speaking, Russian Orthodox Ukrainians who lived in that region. So if you have a coup, you have a part of the people of Ukraine who say we refuse to accept the illegitimacy of a fascist coup put into power against our will. Surely any civilian, any group, any society has the right to say we have had a foreign imposed coup put upon us. We are under threat from the anti-Russian fascists of the Azov Battalion and others, the Banderites, who are followers of Stefan Bandera, who was aligned with the Nazis in the Second World War and was culpable in the murder of Jewish Ukrainians sent to the gas chambers, and pogroms and murders and massacres carried out in Ukraine by these very same fascists. Zelensky can say he has every right to defend his country in national unity against what he perceives as Russian aggression. I see the Russians as going to the defense of the people who are under attack. I believe the Russians have the moral and also the democratic right to protect Russian-speaking citizens in Ukraine against the fascist coup. Zelensky is a little boy. The war is coming to an end. He has no decisions in the decision-making process. Trump and Putin
did you call the president
and
a boy?
The negotiators will make the agreements.
Mr. Hughes, did you just call the President Zelensky a boy? I didn't get what you said there.
Yes, politically he's a little boy. He has no.
But he's the president. He is the president of a country, and I don't think it should be all right on live television, even if you have any personal grounds with him, to refer to him that way. I think he deserves his respect. But now, going back to the conversation, President Zelensky is expected to speak with U.S. President Donald Trump later today. Considering the tension their last meeting generated, how do you expect this to go?
Well, President Trump and J.D. Vance treated Zelensky politically as not as a partner going forward. He was ridiculed and he was dressed down in the White House, in the Oval Office. We have all seen how the terms, how derogatorily he was addressed by President Trump. I would just restate that Trump and Putin and the negotiators of America and Russia will decide what the outcome of the ceasefire is. Zelensky's job will be to sign the ceasefire papers. I would imagine after that they will call for free elections and fair elections in Ukraine. I don't think he will stand because he has no mandate at the moment from the people because his term of office has ended. I think that the Ukrainian civil society is fully against President Zelensky. I think the people there want peace. We have seen young men and old men dragged off the streets to be sent into the meat grinder to face their fate on the battlefield against the Russian Federation troops. So I reiterate, the war is over. Zelensky will sign whatever paper is handed to him. He'll disappear off into the sunset with the millions of dollars that people are claiming.
Those are assumptions, and I'm not sure, Mr. Hughes. Those are assumptions, and I'm not sure, Mr. Hughes, that you have, evidence, to back up some of these points you are making. But thank you very much for talking to us on World Now. Francis Hughes is a journalist. He joined us from Belfast, and thank you very much for talking to us. Well, that's it on World Now. Thank you very much for being a part of it. There is more on our website, www.tvcnews.tv. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and X at TVC News NG. We are streaming live on YouTube at TVC News Nigeria. We have updates on WhatsApp at TVC News Nigeria. Thank you again for watching.